Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the grade 11 mathematical literacy online class. I am going to allow for another minute or so just for all the attendees to get set up, to get registered, to sign into this online session. So please be patient while we wait for those learners. We will begin shortly. Okay, I think we are ready to get started. It looks like all the learners have joined in. So once again, welcome to the Mathematical Literacy online class for grade 11 learners this morning. For those of you who still do not know me, my name is Kimberly Brits. I am the educational specialist for mathematical literacy. Now, just some basics that I would like to cover before we continue. If you are struggling to hear me, make sure your audio is on and your speaker volume is turned up. You will automatically be muted when joining the session. Should you have any questions, you can ask your questions in the question box below or on your right, or raise your hand. To raise your hand, click the icon on your dashboard below or on your right. Download this presentation and additional resources in the handout box below or on your right. You will also find all this information in the question box below or on your right. Please remember to send us your questions. Attendees are encouraged to ask questions and leave comments. However, irrelevant or inappropriate comments will result in the attendee being dismissed from the session. If we did not get to your question, please send an email to academics@impact.co.za. Questions in the question box will be answered and made available afterwards. If you did not receive the questions and answers, please send an email to info@impact.co.za. Then for recordings of previous sessions as well as this session, please go to Impact's website to the COVID-19 online schooling past class videos. You will find all recordings listed there. Okay, I think let's get started. So for today, we are going to be looking at a June examination 2018 paper 2. The purpose of looking at yet another paper 2, as we did in the previous online class, is due to the fact that it is a higher order thinking paper. It consists of level 2 to 4 thinking, and I am a firm believer in plenty of revision when it comes to mathematical literacy, as well as having to deal with multiple different types of questions. I trust that if you do see plenty of different types of questions, it does prepare you a little bit better for the examinations that lie ahead. Now, this paper that we are covering today can be downloaded in the handout box with the memo as well, so you can find both there. You can also download the question paper and the memo from myimpact.co.za. But as I've said, I've made it available in the handout box, so download it there before the end of this session. For alternative methods, refer to the memo. So if you feel that you have an alternative solution, as I have answered the question on during today's discussion, please have a look. The memo does include plenty of alternative methods. And then lastly, unfortunately, the whiteboard program that I am making use of does not allow me to export to a PDF document. Therefore, this discussion on the whiteboard, I cannot make it available to you, unfortunately, but you can be aware that all the solutions that I am going to work through with you today, they are all in the memo. So you are not missing out on anything if you are going to only make use of the question paper and the memo. Everything that I am discussing, I did get from there. Okay, now before, let's rather continue. First of all, this is a paper 2, so it includes level 2 to 4 cognitive levels, so your higher order thinking. Then there's an hour and a half time allocated towards this task or this paper. Remember, we only have an hour to our availability, so due to time constraints, we might not get through the entire paper, but let's see how far we are managing to get. Then the paper does have a total of 75 marks. It consists out of 4 questions and 3 answer sheets. Now let's have a look at our first question. Okay, so at this stage, I am going to switch off my webcam so that we can use the entire screen to have a look at the questions and the answers. I know that the screen does take up a little part at the top of the screen, so let's not waste that. Okay, question 1. Sam feeds and cares for people's pets while they are on vacation. He hires a car at 400 Rand per day. He asks his friend Carl to help him and will pay him 300 Rand per day. Question 1.1. Determine Sam's fixed expenses per day. So first of all, Sam has 2 fixed expenses regardless of how many houses he visits, which is the amount to hire a vehicle and also his payment to his friend Carl. So we are going to add those 2 values together, and that will then give us the fixed expenses for Sam's business. Quite straightforward, easy question, most likely the easiest one in this paper. Question 1.2. The car's fuel consumption is 14 kilometers per liter. If he travels 350 kilometers and fuel costs 13 Rand and 74 cents per liter, determine the following. Question 1.2.1. The amount of fuel used. So first of all, if he travels 350 kilometers, and his fuel consumption is 14 kilometers per liter, we have to determine the fuel used in liters. Therefore, we are going to solve this problem by saying the distance traveled divided by the kilometer per liter. If we calculate that, it gives us an answer of 25. But as I have said, this is the amount of fuel, which is calculated in liters. It's extremely important to not forget about the unit. Question 1.2.2. The cost of the fuel used. So in this case, you are going to make use of your answer in the previous question. So if he has to purchase 25 liters of fuel at a cost of 13 Rand and 74 cents. We multiply those 2 values and it gives us an answer of 343 Rand and 50 cents. Just for a piece of interesting information, if you were to get this answer wrong, say, for example, you've got 14 liters. That is the answer that you have calculated. You will not lose marks a second time in question 2.2. We will then go and substitute your incorrect answer into the space of 25, and we will then alter your solution or your final answer. So you will not continue to lose marks due to one mistake at the start of the question. You will then continue. If you said 14 times 13,74, you've calculated that correctly, you will receive your 2 marks. It is most likely going to look like this to say that we are marking on top of your incorrect answer. Okay, question 1.3. Sam visits 80 houses. His variable costs are 240 Rand. Determine the variable cost per house. So if his variable cost is 240 Rand for 80 houses, what will his variable cost be for one house? We divide the total cost by the number of houses, which gives us an answer of 3 Rand. Continuing with question 1.4. Determine the variable cost for 10 houses. So if one house has a variable cost of 3 Rand, we multiply that amount with 10 houses, which means for 10 houses, his variable costs will be 30 Rand. So up until this point, questions are still quite simple and straightforward. Question 1.5. Complete the following table. Now let's quickly have a look. I'm going to just drag the screen up a little bit. Question 1.5. So you will see that this table compares the number of houses with the cost in Rand. Now C is going to be his variable costs or his expenses. Okay, so first of all, we determine that by looking at the information in the table. If he visits 0 houses, he still has a fixed expense of 700 Rand. Then, depending on how many houses he visits, he has a variable cost of 3 Rand per house. So that means, I think let's quickly just skip to question 1.6, because while explaining question 1.5, we are going to be answering question 1.6. So question 1.6 says, write a formula to calculate the cost if he went to N houses. So the cost can be calculated by saying, I'm just going to jump here to the bottom line. I'm going to run out of space on my screen. The cost can be calculated by saying his fixed expenses plus 3 Rand multiplied by the number of houses he visits. So in your question statement, it gives you N as the number of houses, and that allows you to use N in your answer over here. In the case where they did not give you a variable, then you would have had to written the word out. So you would have said 3 Rand multiplied by number of houses. So you would have literally had to write the words out. Now, this formula we've just determined, or we've just calculated here, is the formula that we are going to use to complete the values for the table in question 1.5. So you will see 730 is determined by saying 700 plus 3 multiplied by 10 houses, which gives you 730. So if we continue to use this exact same formula for every single other number of houses visited, for 20 houses, it's going to give you a value of 760. For 30 houses, 790. For 40 houses, 820. For 50 houses, they already gave us that answer. For 80 houses, 940. Okay, now let's go on. We already did question 1.6, so we are moving on to question 1.7. Draw a line graph to represent his expenses. Use the answer sheet provided for your answer. So here to our right, I did include the answer sheet. So let's jump right in. First of all, before we start plotting our information or our data, we first have to do two extremely important things. And if you don't do it at the start, before plotting your data, you are going to forget to do it and you will lose marks. So first of all, a proper heading. So we can say Sam's business. It's not a great heading, but it's just short, so it's going to fit into my space here at the top. So Sam's, let's say he is going to houses. Let's see. Sam's pets business. Okay. Then we have to label our X and Y axis. So first of all, the information on our X axis will be the number of houses, and then the information on the y-axis will be the cost. So in this case, for this graph, it's going to be the expenses, cost in rand. Now, first of all, let's plot all the information. For 0 houses, take a look at this. We're not starting at 0. We are starting at 700 because he has a fixed expense of 700 even if he visits 0 houses. So starts at 700. For 10 houses, it is going to be about over here, 730 rand. For 20 houses, it's going to be about 760 rand. For 30 houses, it's going to be about 790 rand. This is extremely small scale, so please bear with me. For 40 houses, it's going to be about 820 rand expenses. For 50 houses, 850. For 60 houses, that information is not given in the table, so we are going to work it out separately on a calculator on the side, and that's going to give us 880 rand for 60 houses, so that will be there. For 70 houses, that information is also not given to us in the table, so we work it out on the side, which is 910 rand. And then for 80 houses, 940 rand. There we go. Now what we do is we take a ruler. Unfortunately, I do not have one, but we take a ruler, we connect all the dots, and extremely important, we label our graph. So this is then our expenses. We label the graph that we've just sketched. Okay, now we continue with question 1.8. Sam charges 20 rand to visit one house. Complete the table considering his income. So if he charges 20 rand per house, if he visits 0 houses, he will get 0 rand income. Now for 10 houses, it is going to be 10 houses multiplied by 20, because that is what he asks or charges per house. That gives you an answer of 200 rand. For 20 houses, he is going to get an income of 400 rand. 30 houses, it is 600 rand. 40 houses is 800 rand. 50 houses is 1,000 rand. And 80 houses is 1,600 rand. Question 1.9 asks you to draw a line graph representing his income on the same set of axes as in question 1.7. Do you see how come it was extremely important to label my first graph as expenses? Because now on the same set of axes, we are going to sketch his income. His income is then going to look something like this. Let's just zoom in a little bit. So for 0 houses, his income is 0 rand. For 10 houses, his income is 200 rand. 20 houses, it is 400 rand. 30 houses, it is 600 rand. 40 houses, 800 rand. For 50 houses, it is going to be 1,000 rand. And then for 60 houses, remember that information is not given in our table, so we work it out separately. And then you should notice we ran out of space on our graph. It is not the end of the world. We have enough information on this graph to work with. So once again, we connect all the dots. And then we label our graph income. And guys, just to give you an idea, let's quickly grab another color pen. This heading counts a mark. Labeling of your graphs counts a mark. Labeling of your axes sometimes even counts up to 2 marks. So do you see how simple work that is not even mathematically related counts up to 4, sometimes even to 5 marks? Okay, so it's extremely important not to forget that information. Now let's continue with question 1.10. What is a break-even point? Identify the break-even point by indicating it on your graph with an X. Okay, so let's grab my blue pen. Now my break-even point is where my two graphs that I've sketched, where they meet or where they cross. Okay, so that is going to be, we can even draw just a little bit neater. It's going to be better. There we go. Okay, so that is my break-even point. And my break-even point is where my income equals my expenses. So that is the point where your business, or Sam's business rather, is not making a profit nor making a loss. His income and his expenses are equal the same. So that is a break-even point. Okay, we've also identified or labeled it on our graph now. So let's continue with question 1.11. I see I've used the space over here for that explanation. There we go. Okay, so now for question 1.11, determine the break-even point by using this formula. So great, they gave us a formula, and my advice is to make use of what is given to you. So the number of houses equals to the fixed cost divided by the selling price per unit minus the variable cost per unit. So first of all, let's substitute in the information we have. The number of houses, we do not have that, so this is what we want to determine, the number of houses, which is going to be our break-even point. Then we have our fixed cost of 700 Rand. Then at the bottom, we have our selling price per unit, which is, let me just look, 20 Rand. And our our variable cost per unit is 3 Rand. So we type that entire fraction into our calculator, and it is going to give you an answer of 41,18 houses. So mathematically calculated, not reading it from a graph, 41,18 houses is where his income and his expenses will be equal. Now that brings us to the end of question 1. I would like to just check, any of you, do you have any questions up until this point? No questions up till this point. That's fantastic. I hope that means that you all understand the work. Quickly show me by raise of hands if everyone that feels positive about this first finance question, raise your hand so that I can just get a feeling of how you guys feel about question 1. There's not many hands going up, so either you're not listening or you are feeling completely lost. There the hands start going up. Fantastic. I'm glad to see many of you feeling positive. Okay. What does mean? What does N mean? Please just give me a little bit more information regarding that question. I see that one question in the question box. If you can give me a little bit more information on that N, then I can provide feedback. Okay, let's continue with question 2. To that one girl in 1.6. Thank you for that quick response. Let me just double check. Okay, in question 1.6, remember, look at the question statement for question 1.6. if he went to n houses. So n represents the number of houses that he visits. That's where the n comes from. I hope and trust that that answers your question. Okay, let's just put all your hands down. Question 2. Suzanne wants to to have a class party to celebrate the end of the year. Help her answer a few questions. Question 2.1. Suzanne is using a large table for the food and cool drinks. The table is 175 centimeters long and 100 centimeters wide. Question 2.1.1. What is the length of the table in meters? So we are going to make use of the dimensions given to us here. And first question asks us, what is the length of the table? So if the table is 175 centimeters long, remember this measurement we have to convert to meters. So just here, I'm just going to jot it here at the top. 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. So this you should know beforehand. And if you know that, you will also know to divide by 100. Oh, I ran out of space there. Okay, so divide by 100. And if we divide our centimeter value by 100, it is going to give us an answer of 1,75 meters. So that is the length of our table in meters. Let's continue to question 2.1.2. If she has a tablecloth that is 1,500 millimeters long, will it cover the table? If it does not, by how many centimeters will the tablecloth be too short? So first of all, once again, the 1,100 or 1,500, sorry, I included one too many. 1,500 millimeters, we are going to convert this to centimeters. Okay, so 1 centimeter, once again, 1 centimeter equals, well, 10 millimeters. There we go. So this, once again, learn this beforehand. Now, if we know that, we know also to divide by 10, which means that the table length, or the length of the tablecloth, is 150 centimeters long. Now the question statement tells us that the length is 175 centimeters, that of the table, whereas my tablecloth has a length of 150 centimeters, which means that my tablecloth will be 25 centimeters too short. So very important. This question asked, or this question included two questions. First, is the tablecloth going to cover the table? No, it is not. Okay, then we can say it is too short. And then remember, the second section of this question asked, by how much is it too short? So here you get 1 mark and here you get another mark. If you forgot this part of your answer, you will have lost a mark. Question 2.1.3. She measures the chairs. They are each 0,4 meters wide. How many chairs will fit around the table? So now we already have the measurements in centimeters. So let's just continue to work with centimeters. 0,4 meters multiplied by 10 to go from sorry, not multiplied by 10, multiplied by 100, going from meter to centimeter, which means that each chair has a width of 40 centimeters. Now let's quickly have a look. The length of our table is 175 centimeters. We divide that by 40 to see how many chairs can fit in that length, and we get an answer of 4,375. The breadth of the table is 100, or the width of the table is 100 centimeters. Once again, we divide it by the chair, and then that gives us an answer of 2,5. Now, extremely important, quickly take note of the following. we are going to round these two values off to whole numbers. Since you don't get half a chair or quarter of a chair, you either get a whole chair or you don't get no chair at all. So if we look at the following, the table in the length only has space for 4,375 chairs. Now I cannot create more space in the length between the legs of the table. Therefore, we are going to round it off to 4 chairs. The same for the width of the table. I cannot create an additional 0.5 centimeters of space. That space is not there. Therefore, I can only fit 2 chairs into the breadth or the width of my table. Now, let's quickly here on the side. Final answer. The one side, I can fit 4 chairs. On the other length of my table, I can fit another 4. Then the width, both sides of my rectangular table, which means 4 plus 4 is 8. I can fit 12 chairs around my table. There we go. Question 2.2. One of Suzanne's friends brought 3 CDs. The first is 50 minutes, the second 45 minutes, and the third 67 minutes. How long will the music play if they play the CDs back to back? Give your answer in hours and minutes. So first of all, the first CD is 50 minutes long. The second CD is 45 minutes long. And then the last CD is 67 minutes, which is equivalent to an hour and 7 minutes. Remember, 60 minutes is equivalent to 1 hour. So now we are going to add all of these together. So 50 minutes plus 45 minutes plus 7 minutes gives me an answer. Let's quickly do it this side of 102 minutes. Now we are going to divide this by 60 to see how many hours fit into 102 minutes, which is going to be 1 hour. And then there is going to be, let's just double check, 42 minutes remaining. Okay, so this means, let's go back to our original question, 42 minutes and 1 hour. Now we're going to count up our hours as 1, 2 hours. Therefore, my question will, or my answer, final answer will be, the CD is going to be playing for 2 hours and 42 minutes. Okay, question 2.3. Now, this is an interesting and quite fun question, as there are so many possible solutions to this question. Most of you should have would have enjoyed this if you've got this in a paper. So question 2.3 reads, Suzanne has a few things to do before her guests arrive. Her tasks are in the table below. She made the list to plan her tasks and the time it will take to complete each task. Then in the table, the tasks and the time allocation for each task is listed over here. Then the question continues, set up a time schedule she can follow to complete her tasks before her friend arrives at 1 o'clock. Remember, she can do multiple tasks at the same time. Answer the question on the answer sheet provided. So you will see I have already went and answered the question just to save us some time. Otherwise, it's going to take quite a bit of planning. Now, first of all, you will see that this planning, according to me, has started at 8 o'clock. So from 8 o'clock to 8:30, 30 minutes pass. This means that we've, according to this planning, gave her 30 minutes to wake up and eat breakfast. I think she's definitely a snoozer because no one eats breakfast for 30 minutes long. I think she snoozed 20 minutes and then quickly got up and ate. Then you will see from 8:30 to 9:45, she swept the floors. Have a look here on the left-hand side. She swept the floors and she swept and washed the floors, which the time allocation is 1 hour and 15 minutes. Then from 9:45 to 10 o'clock, we gave her 15 minutes. Now 15 minutes to clean outside. So to clean outside, she did only require 15 minutes. Then from 10 o'clock to 10:30, we gave her 30 minutes. 30 minutes to bake cake. Now you will see in the table on the question paper, it says preparation is 30 minutes. So we gave her 30 minutes to just make the batter and make the dough, or make the batter for the cake. Then from 10:30 to 12:10, we gave her 1 hour and 40 minutes to wrap gifts. And so it continues. So from 10:30 to 12:10, she wraps gifts. From 12:10 to 12:20, we gave her 10 minutes to wash the dishes. And once again, that correlates with what is given in the table on the question paper. And then it is time for her, 20 minutes past 12, to take the cake from the oven. So from the time that she placed the cake in the oven at 10:30 up until 20 minutes past 12, that corresponds with 1 hour and 50 minutes according to the time given in the question paper. And then lastly, she asked for 30 minutes to shower and get dressed. So from 20 minutes past 12 till 12:50, we gave her time to finish up. Okay, so I hope all of you understood this question quite well. It's a fun and easy question. And once again, this is just one possible answer. Each of you could have played around with a schedule that looks a little bit different than mine. Now that's all for question 2. Let's just double check. Do you guys have any questions? No questions, guys? Remember to ask your questions if you feel a little bit lost, or if you want to add some additional information to my explanations, you are welcome to give me that feedback as well. Okay, let's continue. Question 3. Use a scale of 1 to 40. Let's highlight that. We are going to use this information, 1 to 40. To fit the list of furniture in an open plan house, draw the furniture where you think it would fit best. Draw it using the correct scale. The furniture with their measurements are given below and must fit into the living room on the answer sheet provided. Name the furniture on your plan clearly. So have a look here. Let's just grab a pen. Sorry. The information here gives the real life dimensions of each piece of furniture. On your answer sheet, they went and they sketched the floor plan of this open plan house according to the same scale of 1 to 40. Okay, so that means if we now change all of the measurements of the furniture to a 1 to 40 scale. So we are going to change the scale so that it fits on our paper. Then it is going to be exactly compared to the size of the actual house. Okay, so now what they would like us to do, let's quickly have a look at couch 1, then you're going to understand. The couch in reality has a dimension of 180 centimeters by 90 centimeters. Now, in reality, one measurement on the paper compares to 40 measurements in reality. Therefore, each of these measurements are going to be divided by 40, by the scale factor, which means 180 divided by 40 gives me an answer of 4,5 centimeters. And 90 divided by 40 gives me a dimension of 2,25 centimeter. Now, this is where the fun part comes in. This is a couch. So on your floor plan, you are going to see where you would like to put this couch. And that's the nice part. You can choose where you want to put the couch. In the question statement, they don't tell you where to put the furniture. So you can choose for yourself whether or not you would like to put the couch in the bedroom or in the living room. That is your choice. So let's go ahead and draw our couch over here. Now, if I used my ruler, this would have been 4,5 centimeters, give or take, and this would have been 2,25 centimeters, give or take. And then very, very important, I should name the piece of furniture. Couch 1. Then let's continue. Couch 2 has dimensions 90 centimeters by 90 centimeters. We divide each of these dimensions by the scale factor of 40, and that will give us an answer of 2,25 centimeters multiplied by 2,25 centimeters. That is just how we write the dimensions. So now I can go and say, okay, so this seems to be a single small chair, square-like from the top. So there we go. And this, once again, we have to name. Couch 2. Okay, let's continue with the rest of the furniture. The TV stand has dimensions 120 centimeters by 40 centimeters. Divide each measurement by 40, which is going to give you 3 centimeters by 1 centimeter. Okay, the coffee table has dimensions of 70 centimeter by 70 centimeter. We divide each by a scale factor of 40, which is going to give us an answer of 1,75 centimeter by 1,75 centimeter. Okay, the dining room table has dimensions of 240 by 120 centimeters, and once again divide by the scale factor. It's quite tedious doing the same thing over and over again, but hopefully after this question you are never ever going to forget how to do this. Okay, and then lastly our chairs, which is 40 centimeters by 40 centimeters, divide by 40, gives us 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. There we go. Okay, now once again, I'm not going to draw all of this onto the floor plan. It is your choice. If you want to go do the coffee table or the TV cabinet and you want to go put the coffee table, it is your choice as long as you measure it according to your worked out measurements. Okay, any questions up until this point? Any questions? Guys, should I be worried that you guys are so quiet with no questions, or is that a good sign? Let's hope it's a good sign. Okay, I'm going to continue. We'll give a last opportunity at the end of the session for questions. Question 4. A census shows the males and females in each province. They give you a double bar graph. Over here, gender by provinces in 1996, the percentage compared to the province. And then they give you a table at the bottom, the total population figures for South African provinces. Okay, then let's continue to our questions. Just going to zoom out a little bit. Question 4.1. What percentage of the Eastern Cape comprises of females? So this is one of those, it looks straightforward, but it does require some thinking. So let's have a look at our double bar graph. First of all, there is only percentages given for the males. So the males is this violet purple, where the females are represented by this pinkish purple. Now, the female, their percentage is not given. So our population is only then considered out of males and females. So we can consider that males and females altogether make up 100%. We do have the percentage of males in the Eastern Cape. Remember Eastern Cape, which is 46,1%. If we subtract those two values, it gives us an answer of 53,9%. And that is then the percentage of females. Okay, question 4.2. Let's quickly have a look. How many females are in the Eastern Cape? Okay, so how many? Now we have a look at the table at the bottom. The Eastern Cape has a population of 6,302,525. Now we've already determined that 53.9% of this amount is females. Therefore, we say 6302525 multiplied by 53.9, and we place it over 100 to make that percentage a fraction. We type that into our calculator. It is going to give us an answer of 3,397,060 females. Okay, question 4.3. Calculate the difference in the number of males in Gauteng and the number of males in KwaZulu-Natal. I'm going to read that question again since we close the questions each time. Calculate the difference in the number of males in Gauteng and the number of males in KwaZulu-Natal. So first of all, let's have a look. I'm just going to grab another color highlighter here. First of all, working with Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal males. Over here, it's going to be over there. That's the information that we are going to be working with. So first of all, the men in Gauteng consists of 51.0% of the population. We multiplied that by 7348423. This information comes from over here. If I type that into my calculator, it gives me an answer of 3747695 men. Then this is for Gauteng. Now for KwaZulu-Natal, once again, the number of men is 46.9% of the population over 100 multiplied by the total population of 8,417,021. Type that into your calculator for an answer of 3,947,582. And this is for KwaZulu-Natal. Now, our question did state the difference in the number of men. So KwaZulu-Natal looks like it does have quite a few more men. So we are going to say the number of men in KZN, subtract the men in Gauteng, and the difference is then 199,887 men. There we go. Question 4.4.1. Okay, question 4.4.1. A person is chosen randomly from all the provinces. What is the probability that the person is chosen from the Western Cape? Write your answer as a percentage rounded off to 2 decimal places. So for this question, these questions of probability, we are only going to make use of the table. So let's quickly double check. Western Cape is given here at the bottom. So the Western Cape has 356,875 people out of a total of 40,583,573. The total can be found at the bottom of this table over there. And then we want our answer as a percentage, so we multiply by 100. Type that into your calculator. It is going to give you an answer of 0.88%. Last question, question 4.4.2. What is the probability that the person is not chosen from Mpumalanga? Write your answer as a percentage rounded off to 2 decimal places. So now that this probability question asks us the probability of a person that is not chosen from Mpumalanga, as soon as you hear that is not chosen, your probability question is going to look like this. Okay, so for the previous question, this would have been the probability of Western Cape equals 2. So now, because our question state is not chosen, we say 1 minus the probability of Mpumalanga. Okay, now we're going to say 1 minus, then the people or the population for Mpumalanga is 2,800,711, and we put that over the total of all populations is 40,583,557. There we go. Now, this entire question or this equation, you type into your calculator and you are going to get an answer of 0.9310. Your question does, however, state to give your final answer as a percentage rounded off to 2 decimal value. Therefore, we are going to multiply our answer by 100 for a final answer of 93.10%. Okay, so I see that there is, let's quickly see if there are any questions. What is the census at the top of question 4? Oh, what does census mean? Census is generally a population count, if that explains it well. So generally people from the department or from the government, they go around to all areas, they knock on people's doors, and then they would ask how many male, how many female are staying in this house, or how many children are staying in this house, just to get a general idea of how many people stay in a certain area or stay in a province. So that is normally what a census is. Okay, let's see. Any other questions, guys? You are still more than welcome to submit them. If I don't get back to them during the session, I'll give you feedback via email. Then I would also just like to inform you, if you need more information regarding registering with Impact, you can send an email to info@impact.co.za. And then, guys, from my side, thank you so much for joining in. I am very glad that all of you joined up for today's discussion. I hope most of you at least learned something, or most of you at least feel a little bit more positive about June examinations and about exam papers overall. So thank you so much for joining in, and then I look forward to seeing you again for the next session. Goodbye.